Welcome to the Settle for More podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Wright, and I have designed this space for you. Yeah, you, the woman who is ready to walk out on her fears, step into her dreams, and own her power by shifting her mindset from feeling not enough to taking action and to becoming more than enough whilst settling for more. Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Settle for More podcast. I am so grateful that you have chosen to be with me today. The truth is that you could be anywhere in the world, but you're choosing to spend this time with me, and I want to promise you it's going to be worth it. This is something that I don't take for granted. Your time, your effort, your energy, the time to pause and to listen. I'm so grateful that I'm promising you just right off the bat that this episode is going to be worth it. Today's episode has the power to change the way that you face adversity and to really help you find a new kind of strength. So if you're feeling a little tense and a little uncertain, or maybe just a little overwhelmed, I'm going to invite you now to just take a deep breath. Let's do that together. Because we're going to work through this together. So, see, over the last few days or weeks, I have to admit that I've been feeling something really, really powerful, something more global. And what I'm feeling is that the world around me is bracing. Yeah. And I'm sure if you really take the time to just pause and to be with self and just to observe that, you're feeling it too. And so for me, I think when I observed it the most is as the news of the US election came in, I sensed that there was a collective tension, almost like we were holding our breaths and waiting to see what would come next. And as I watched and witnessed and even participated in that brace and the holding of the breath, it got me thinking about how often we, particularly as women over 40, we brace ourselves in life. We brace ourselves in our life, waiting for things that are beyond our control to unfold. We brace ourselves in life, anticipating outcomes that we can't predict, right? And bracing is such a natural response. But I also believe that there is another way, and a way that can bring peace even in the most uncertain times. And for me, I know what it's like to brace. We brace when we're waiting for test results from a doctor, unsure of what we might hear. I know when I was doing all these tests, particularly the very first test to find out what that lump in my breast was, I braced and I dreaded, right? So if you're waiting on the test results from a doctor, just uncertain of what you might hear, I know that you're bracing. We brace sometimes when the phone rings in the middle of the night, wondering if something is wrong, right? It's getting that 2 a.m. call when as we're about to slide the phone to say hello, we are bracing because we're wondering what could be wrong. For us parents, we brace when we get an unexpected call from the school. For those of us who are still employed to organization, we brace when there's a call or an email from HR. Or even from a family member that we are worried about. When the phone rings, it's almost like our heart skips a beat. Sometimes for me, when I'm bracing, I feel it a lot in my throat. It's like I can't even swallow to speak. And we brace in the most personal ways. We brace around a partner or a family member when we may be afraid of their reaction. We brace sometimes when we hear the words, "I don't mean to." Or even sometimes, "I know this is tough to hear," because we are not sure what might come next. I know for me, a brace word for me is unfortunately, right? And those are the moments that makes us hold our breaths, tighten our muscles, and feel the wave of dread just washing over us. It's our body's natural way of protecting us and preparing for the unknown. But here's the truth. Bracing might protect us, but it also keeps us in a place of tense and being constantly on the edge. And that's not what I want for you. That's not the experience I want you to have. So I want you to take a moment and think. When was the last time you found yourself bracing? Was it something specific? Maybe it was a situation that you couldn't control, something that kept you on the edge. And just acknowledging these moments can make us more aware when we're tense and in that bracing state. So I'm going to give you a moment to pause and think about the last time that you were bracing or dreading the unknown. And while bracing has its place, it certainly is not the only way. And so I want to share something really deep and personal that has really supported me when I find myself bracing. In those moments when I'm gripped with fear of the unknown, uncertainty, when I feel as though I'm on the edge, I tend to remind myself that there is a divine order guiding and guarding my life. And this belief really gives me a sense of peace, a reminder that all things, even the hard things, the tough things, the uncertain things, are ultimately working together for my good. And it doesn't mean that we don't face challenges or admit that this is challenging, but it means that we don't have to face them alone. Knowing that there's a presence and a power which governs and guards and supports us. You see, when I let go and trust in that order, for me, it changes everything. I feel myself releasing. I feel myself finding calm. And I feel myself just moving from fear to peace. And a prayer that I often say and use to support me is, this, oh God, or something better. Knowing and trusting that all things are working together for my good. It takes intentionality. It takes a lot of practice, but it's also something that supports me. I remember when I was going through cancer, and there were moments when I was just terrified of the unknown, terrified of that call, terrified of what the results may show. And for those of you who've waited on anything medically, you know how that can be, right? You know how it can be waiting and waiting and waiting. And all the scenarios that we create and that we tend to live without even having the experience, you know how that can be. And so I'm offering that you take a moment just to pause. And one of the most life-changing realization I've come across is the power of now. And that is the beauty of grounding ourselves in the present moment. You see, often when we're bracing or we feel anxious, we're mentally somewhere else. We're in the future, right? We've just teleported there. We take ourselves there. And we find ourselves worrying about what might happen. Or we're in the past, holding on to what has already gone. But as you notice, either place, right, wherever you choose to be when you're bracing, we lose touch of the peace and the strength and the possibility that only exist in this moment, the now. And so when we bring ourselves to the fullness of the present moment, we release the grip of dread and uncertainty. We stop living in anticipation of what might happen and start feeling engaged with what is really happening. And here's the truth. In that exact moment, in this moment, you are okay. You are breathing, you are safe, and you're here. So let's try something together. I want you to just adjust yourself wherever you might be. Just kind of shuffle around a little bit. And I want you to sit or lay comfortably. Close your eyes if that's possible. If you're driving, please don't do that. So close your eyes if that's possible. And now let's just take a slow, deep breath in. And you're feeling the air filling your lungs. Hold it gently for just a second, then release it slowly. And as you breathe, I want you to feel your body just settle into the present moment. Notice the sensation of the air, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, and the way that your shoulders relax a bit more with each breath. You see, when we focus on what we're really feeling in our bodies right now, our breath, which is such a gift, our heartbeat, which is also another gift, we are connecting in this present moment with the power of now. And in this present moment, there is nothing to fear, nothing to brace for. Just being here with yourself in this breath can really help you ground and will bring you that peace that we all seek and that we all deserve. And so the next time you find yourself bracing, whether you're waiting for the news, whether you're feeling uncertain about a result, whether it be a test result or a medical result, or you're fearing the unknown, I'm going to offer that you bring yourself back to the now. Notice the sounds around you, the colors around you, the way the light hits the surface nearby. And connect with the present moment and remind yourself that you don't have to solve the future right now. Instead, you can choose to focus on what's in front of you. And it's amazing how empowering the present moment can be. When we fully live in the now, we're not weighed down by the dread of what if, but uplifted by the uncertainty of what is. And from this place of presence, you will find that you will handle life's unexpected moment in a way that serves and supports you, in a way that works for you. And so those are the two techniques that I use to really support me when I'm bracing, when I'm dreading. And so you may be wondering, outside of focusing on the power of now and outside of really affirming that there is divine order in all your affairs, how else can we make that shift? And so I'm going to be sharing a few practical tips for you. And these are things that you can do anytime, anywhere, whenever you find yourself bracing. So like you and I just did, take a deep breath. Because when we're bracing, our breath becomes so shallow, it's almost like we can't breathe. So let's try it again. Just close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Hold it there. Release it slowly. And let each breath that you're choosing to be intentional about taking remind you that you're here, you are wired for hard stuff, and whatever comes your way, you will be able to handle it. Next, I want you to name what you're bracing for. I found that naming the fear sometimes just helps to take away some of its power. You can choose to say it aloud or write it down. I am bracing because. And just putting it into words can be freeing and grounding for you as well. So don't judge. Don't beat upon yourself to say, oh, why am I bracing? Why am I so anxious? It's okay. Just name it. What is also important is I chuckle at this all the time. I used to be so terrified of flying, right? Oh my God, it was such a buildup, such an anticipation. If I know I was going to travel, which I am traveling next week, by the way, that I would get so anxious. I couldn't sleep the night before. I'm bracing on the plane. I don't enjoy the flight. I don't enjoy my books. And I got a job that required me to travel almost once a month, ever so often. I had no choice. And so every time I get into the bracing stance, I think about a time when I was able to overcome the fear of bracing. And so I want you to think about a time when you overcame adversity. Remember that you faced tough moments before and you got through them. Think back to a time you faced something that was challenging and you overcame it. Remind yourself that you are resilient, you are capable, and you have strength within you. Yeah. And then I want you to do something that requires a lot of intention. And that is shifting from control to flow. You see, bracing is really about wanting to be in control. But sometimes letting go is the answer. Just total surrender to the divine flow and plan for our lives. So imagine just releasing the need to predict or control the outcome and letting things flow, and remind yourself that life is unfolding exactly as it's meant to be. Another tool that I want to share with you is journaling. Writing down things can be such a powerful way to process and to release and let go. And so I have created and redesigned for you the More Journal. And this journal is really designed to help you dive deeper into your thoughts, designed to help you find clarity, and to make room for more peace, more strength, and more resilience. And you can use the journal, which is now available on Amazon, to explore what you're bracing for and write down the things that you are grateful for. It's like a conversation with yourself that helps you to move from tension to trust and gratitude to what you have that is already working for you. And so, as you think about bracing, as you think about others around you who might be bracing, and if this episode has touched you, has moved you, I want to encourage you to pause now and share it with a friend. We all know someone who could use a reminder that they're not alone and that they don't have to brace alone. So send this episode to someone that you care about, someone you know who might be bracing right now. And let's take the time to be intentional and to support each other. And so I'd love to hear from you, right? I'm introducing this new concept to my podcast. What are you bracing for and how are you working through it? And you can always feel free to send me an email at nicole@NicoleWrightEmpowers.com. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Women Who Settle for More for daily inspirations, for tips, for updates. And I'm so thrilled to announce something that is cooking and I'm stewing for you. And I'm going to be launching a group membership coaching program this January. So it's a space where we will really dive even deeper into topics like this, supporting each other as we grow and move forward with strength. So keep an eye out for more details to come. I want to just thank you so much for taking the time to really spend with me today, right? For spending the time with me, for listening, for writing. And also just remind you that these topics are not meant to allow you to feel icky or to place any judgment on yourself. Remember that racing is natural, but you and I, and collectively, we have the power to release and to find peace in every moment. You are stronger than you know. And I am so grateful to be able to walk that journey with you. So until next time, keep breathing, keep trusting, and know that you are never alone. Because when you have that level of consciousness and that level of awareness, you are in fact settling for more. We'll talk soon.